one organization helps the homeless population get back on their feet. I'm Jill Horner. This is Comcast Local Edition. With me this hour is Anne Mahlum. She is the founder of Back on My Feet. Thanks so much for being with us, Anne.
Sure, thanks for having me.
This is a nationally recognized program, but it's a program that started with an idea you had just from running one morning.
Yeah, it was a little bit over 2 years ago now. In June of 2007, was running by a homeless shelter where I used to live in Philadelphia, and saw these group of guys congregating outside of the shelter like at 5:30 a.m. And I'm originally from North Dakota, so I wave at everybody and started to develop a fun relationship with these guys. And my own father has had addiction issues for, unfortunately, the majority of his life, and I've never figured out a way how to help him. And running has really been my salvation through those issues and problems with my father. And running by these guys, first they reminded me a lot of him, but figured, maybe running can benefit them the same way that has benefited me. So that's how it all started.
And it really has grown from something that you thought of one morning running past a homeless shelter into an organization that has chapters in Philadelphia, Baltimore, and a new one coming to Washington, D.C.
Yeah, the first few weeks when this whole thing started, it was like, maybe this could be more than just a running program. Maybe it could be a catalyst and a way for people to really start changing their lives, but first focusing on their emotional well-being, and then you go to job training, and then you go to employment, and then you go to housing. And thought, this needs to be happening on every corner in Philly, and what about all the other corners in the country? So with the help and support of so many people, 2 years later, yes, we have chapters in Baltimore and are really excited to launch in D.C. in March of 2010.
You say running's the catalyst. Running is that hook to get these individuals involved and engaged. But beyond that, the success isn't just running. But you've seen success in everything from smoking cessation to getting a job.
Yeah, it's been pretty incredible. And again, we feel like that was that missing link with a population that really never had the support, encouragement, appreciation, and love to help them move their life forward. So once people can start believing in themselves, it's no different for anybody. If you're homeless or not, black, white, rich, or poor, if you don't have the confidence in yourself to know that you can do something, and running teaches you those things. If I can do 2 miles, I can do 3. If I can do 3 miles, maybe I can go back and get my GED. So we use that mindset then to help people take those next steps in their lives professionally, but only when they're prepared to do so.
Let's talk about the running itself, because I've been in some races where I've seen some of the people who participate in Back on My Feet, and they are out there and they're having a great time, but there's also a lot of social interaction, and you really see the community coming together to support these individuals.
Yeah, I think that's the great thing about Back on My Feet. You really realize it's not an organization that's just about feeding and shelter, which of course are important, but you see how hard these guys are working. I don't care who you are. If you're running a 5-mile race, if you're, again, rich, black, white, poor, homeless or not, it's just as difficult to run those 5 miles for anybody. And I think when you can see somebody working really hard to get their life back on track, it's inspiring, and you want to see them succeed.
Absolutely. Now let's talk a little bit about expanding this program. The next steps are happening in Washington, D.C. It launches in the spring, but what are some of the things that people can do now to get involved?
Yeah, we are in what we call our pre-launch period. So we formed an advisory board that's working very hard to raise money, media promotion down there, and there's been about 70 volunteers who've already signed up to want to run with our members when everything gets going. And people can buy shirts right now. It's a great way to support the organization, walking around with Back on My Feet, promoting us and spreading the word about the organization, making a donation, running a race on behalf of Back on My Feet. We have partnerships with the New York Marathon, Philly Marathon, Marine Corps Marathon, all the major races around the country that if you run for us, we pay your entry fee, get great benefits, and a really great experience. So those are some of the few ways, as well as, join our mailing list on our website, and then we're planning another happy hour for the D.C. area in January.
So those are some of the ways that we can get involved at this point. We just have a few seconds left, but is the plan to really grow this program even more than what is already happening?
Yeah, we just hired a director of growth and expansion who will be responsible for expanding into 2 more cities next year, probably New York and Chicago, or New York and Boston. We're not quite sure yet.
So really working to have people across the country back on their feet.
Right, and using running to connect people in a way that, like you think you might have something in common with somebody who's homeless, and running makes you realize that we're no different from each other.
Thanks so much, Anne.
Yeah, no problem.
We've been talking with Anne Mahlum. I'm Jill Horner for Comcast Local Edition.